Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the main event, part 6. Um, 1 second. So today's match features two experts, Bryan Weisz and Jack Grills. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
And commentating with me today is National Master Arslan Otchiyev, who is one of our instructors at the Chess Club of Fairfield County. Welcome, Arslan. So we have a very exciting match for you. These two guys, very talented chess players, very good friends. And but before we get started, do you guys have any final words before the action begins?
Thank you, Ian, for setting this up, and best of luck to you, Bryan.
Yeah, good luck, Jack, and also thank you, Ian and Arslan, for making this match possible.
Okay. Yeah. So before you guys begin, just want to quickly review the match format for everybody. It features two rapid games, 15 minutes with a 2-second increment. Each of those games are worth 3 points. And following those two games, we will have Blitz, 3 minutes with a 2-second increment for the remaining time until 5 o'clock. All right, gentlemen, we are all set to begin. So you can, the players are going to turn off their sound so they can't hear the commentary and their microphones, and then they're going to get started. So we will have action underway at any second. So we're just waiting while we wait for the games to begin. Arslan, I don't know if you know these players very well or not, but care to share any thoughts on what you think is going to happen?
Well, I'm expecting seems like it's a close matchup, and I'm expecting good, exciting matches here to see.
Yeah, all of our matches have been very exciting
Yeah,
so far, and some have been very lopsided, some very close. I think this one will be very close as well. And I have their lifetime record here. As you can see, in classical chess, it's also very, very close. Bryan with the slight edge with 4 wins, 1 draw, and 3 wins for Jack. So their head-to-head in classical chess is very, very close. Also, these players know each other much better than I would say any of the other players did in our previous matches. They're both high school juniors and have been playing chess together regularly. They've been on teams together. They've traveled to nationals together to compete. So they know each other very, very well. I'm sure they play online against each other all the time. So it'd be interesting to see how that affects the match. Okay, we're just waiting for the game to begin. Should be any second now.
okay.
Okay, I'm having an issue with getting the volume to turn off.
Okay. If you have some headphones or something like that, you can plug into your iPad. Maybe that would.
Okay, yeah, just one minute. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. So we have a slight delay in the start. Let me just let Jack know. Yeah, we certainly don't want the players to be able to hear our commentary, Arslan.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think it's gonna help them, but still, yeah.
Yeah, it actually can be more of a distraction.
Yeah. So they can't hear us right now, right?
Well, Bryan can probably hear us right now, but yeah, they shouldn't be able to hear us once the games get going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you probably seen their games, but I've never seen how they play. Well, I played Bryan once, but I don't know nothing about Jack. And what's their style like? More positional or more of dynamic?
I'm not sure. I don't know much about style, but I do know that for Bryan at least, he has a really big range of openings that he plays. And some lines he knows extremely deep, and he also knows some kind of weird sidelines really, really well. So I expect that it'll be an interesting opening battle. I think we'll have to pay attention to the openings the entire match, especially since they know each other a lot. It'd be interesting to see if they stick with their usual openings or if they try to mix it up to confuse the other player.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good with the sound.
Okay. All right. So we should be starting any second. Let's see if we can get the games up here. Okay.
Okay, I see. Seems like it appears, and okay, I see the game.
Yep.
Buffalo
So
Bishop.
we are going, but I don't see any moves yet. Oh, there we go. A little delay in the moves. Oh,
8 seconds.
we already
That's
have a
pretty-
request in the chat for a match between you, Arslan, and Leaf Pressman for a future match.
Well, I don't think that's gonna be even match. I mean, Leaf Prism is probably the next level. Okay, let's see. Okay, Sicilian defense seems like it's gonna be Dragon or Nidorf.
So if we see a G6 coming, then it's definitely going to be a dragon.
Yeah, Dragon system. Okay.
So we have a dragon Sicilian.
So
And, okay, go ahead.
F4. Oh, okay. Very unusual move. Usually we see F3 move a lot, Bishop E3 and F3, but F4 we don't see a lot.
Yeah, it seems pretty aggressive. White's saying, okay, I'm going to take space on the center. At some point, I'm going to push and just try to open up the position.
Yeah. So knight D7.
By the way, thank
Yeah.
you everybody who's joining us to watch. If you have any questions in the chat, feel free to let us know. Any thoughts or variations you want to add. If you know the players, any comments are welcome.
So I see Buffalo. Bryan. Yeah.
So I don't play the Sicilian at all, and so I'm gonna have to rely on you a little bit here, Arslan, to tell me what's going on with this Queen F3 move.
Yeah, it's Queen F3, Bishop E3, and Castle Long. We see this a lot in Sicilian defense against Paulson and against Taimanov. Here, well, move F4 I've analyzed like I think 5 or 6 years ago, but my conclusion was that it's not a good opening for White, and then I switched to Bishop E3 and F3, which is more traditional way
More
of
traditional, yeah.
yeah, attacking here. Most likely Bishop E3 and then Castle Long.
But if your proponent's not prepared, then I suppose they could run into some difficulty here as black.
Yeah, of course we don't see Queen F3 like F4 Queen F3 a lot.
Right.
I used to play Dragon and I can't remember anyone playing F4 and Queen F3 against me. So it's probably was a surprise for.
Yeah, but the strange thing here is that Bryan is the one that's lower on time. He's already down by a minute and a half.
Yeah, you're right. The reason might be knight b to d7 move because usually bishop g7 castle, then like standard moves knight c6 bishop d7. Here knight b to d7.
I gotcha.
Yeah, maybe that's what threw him off a little bit.
Interesting. So yeah, there's always these little subtle things, like if the knight goes to c6 and bishop d7, you're saying it's more normal. But now that black has played knight b to d7, would that be to throw off white, or would it be because black simply wasn't familiar with what to do and kind of played that automatically? I don't know. But either way, it made white think a little bit. And,
Yeah.
And I, from seeing some of Bryan's games, I do know that he gets into time pressure. So it'll be interesting. Like if he's out of book this early, it could spiral for him a little bit if he's not careful. Because he's already down 2 minutes. It's only been 7 moves.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's never seen this before. If I mean, you see something, and if you know if you know the opening, you won't spend 3 minutes.
Right.
Or like 2 minutes. It's a lot of time when it's only 15 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, and these first two rapid games, of course, are extremely important. I think we saw the last 3 matches even. Let me see. The last couple matches, 3 matches have been very lopsided, and that's because the person that won the first rapid game went on to also win the second rapid game. And going into the blitz with a 6-point lead is pretty substantial.
Oh yeah, so you need to win like what 6 games in a row to
Yeah, and depending on how
pull
long
it.
the rapid games go, you might not have that many blitz games.
Yeah.
So you know,
So
it makes it, you
yeah,
would
Bishop
almost have to
E3
win
was
every
played.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Bishop E3 was played, and yeah, like I said, most likely castle long and G4 G5 might happen. So he castled. Now um yeah, I was thinking maybe Black should have played Knight C5, so White couldn't castle because of Bishop G4. He castled now. I don't know if Knight C5 looking good still with idea of Bishop G4.
Yeah,
Most
very
likely
very
H3
interesting.
and G4 will happen, right? So
But what happens in that knight c6 variation? If black had played knight c6, white wouldn't have been able to castle, or do they usually have to throw in h3?
yeah, H3 and then castle long.
Okay. Oh, so he's playing your idea, a move late, but still wants to play
Yeah,
bishop g4. So white probably needs to play h3, and then in order to be able to play g4 next
yeah,
move.
H3, yeah, H3 most likely has to be played.
Oh, I got a little problem with the pictures there. Just readjusting the size. Do you have engines running? I'm not using an engine. I don't believe Arslan is either. We're trying to just give you our thoughts
Yeah,
as what we see going on the board. So some genuine analysis for you. uh,
yeah. We decided to turn off the engines. Just think.
yeah, if we get into some sort of wacky position where nobody knows what the heck's going on, then we might turn it on for a brief moment. But I don't think we haven't needed to do that in any of the other
Yeah.
matches yet.
An engine I noticed on chess.com engine Stockfish is it's not it doesn't go as deep. I think it's 12 moves or 24 moves, so it's not
Yeah,
as strong. So you cannot rely on that engine on chess.com.
exactly. Yeah, it'll tell you generally who's better, but it won't
Yep.
necessarily tell you the precise best move in a
Hmm.
position.
Yeah.
So you don't want to rely on it too much.
Hmm. Well, now you see the problem for black is they cannot play a6 b5 because there's always e5 idea and the rook will be hanging. So that's a problem black is experiencing right now.
Ooh,
But a6
that's a little
b5 is a
tricky.
typical move. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has to what if he plays bishop d7 right now? Because
Yeah,
that way,
bishop d7, rook c8. Then he played a6, but b5 is not possible. So
well, he has to be
a6, I
careful
would
not to
say.
blunder then.
Well, yeah, I hope he doesn't blunder and the game doesn't end in 20 moves.
Yeah. Well, it was really unfortunate in one of the previous rapid uh, games from a previous match. The players one of them blundered a mate in one, another one
Oh,
blundered a
wow.
queen. So we're seeing all sorts of blunders from players that wouldn't normally commit such mistakes, and I think it's just because the pressure is very high in these
Yeah,
early two
right.
games. Once you get to the blitz, you can kind of relax a little bit, but yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and if you well anyway, so yeah, we've seen some uncharacteristic mistakes from players. But yeah, this is a little bit sneaky. White should play some normal looking development move, maybe g4.
There's also I'm looking at e5 move. E5 if pawn takes the knight e6, that's also winning immediately on the spot. But after e5, what knight d7 has to be played. Then pawn takes d6.
Ooh, that would
I
not
don't
be
like black's
pleasant.
position honestly. Already some. Yeah, e5 didn't happen. But g4.
Yeah, that was a very interesting idea. Trying to take advantage of the X-ray, the rook attacking
Yeah,
along the same line as Black's queen. E5 opening the position right away might have been very good. But he
yeah,
played G4, and now Black also has to be careful if he plays the usual normal plan here, B5. Then E5 attacks the knight, but also the rook in the corner, and that's very dangerous as well. Although maybe he could move the knight, and then if queen
yeah.
takes rook, there's some tactics. No, maybe not.
No, at the same time he played g4 and now b5, e5, then bishop b7 possible. So most likely b5 works now.
Yeah, right. I
Uh,
was I was just trying to figure out that bishop when to play bishop b7, and yeah, so that may
yeah,
be okay for black in this position.
yeah.
Okay, so maybe
But
white already missed an opportunity with e5.
yeah, e5 probably was a good move.
Yeah, I always tell my students whenever you have a space advantage and your pawns are not blocked in the center, if you always need to look at the moves where you advance and you chase away somebody's knight because the knights really get bullied by pawns a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
and those moves are always critical.
Yep. So now g5, very logical move. And then it's interesting, knight goes to h5 or e8. Because h5, typically if you play knight h5, then you don't want him to kick it out by playing, let's say, knight e2, knight g3, or bishop e2 and queen f2. So usually when you play knight h5, you need to make sure that you have your own attack on the queen side. So by playing b5, b4, for example, you need to
Yeah,
create some threats on the queen side. Meanwhile,
and just in general, these positions, as you can see, with players castling on both sides, this is most Sicilians. The plans are just what Arslan is describing. White's attacking on the king side, and black will try to get a counterattack on the queen side, and it often comes down to whose attack is faster or whose attack is more dangerous. So you get very exciting double-edged positions a lot of the time, and,
yeah,
and I think that looks like what we're having right here, right now.
yeah, it's like racing. Who's gonna get
Exactly.
their king first?
Yeah, and it's always tricky to balance attack and defense. Like, do I have to
Mhm.
defend right now? Do I have to react to what my opponent is doing? Here, obviously, black needs to do something about the knight, but then he's going to want to get back to attacking on the king side or queen side as soon as he can.
Yeah. Well, yeah. At the same time, the downside of playing f4, it's not easy to exchange the dark square bishops, and if you don't exchange the bishops, then it's hard to attack on the king side. Even if let's imagine queen on h7 check, rook e8 goes, queen h8, queen h7 check, king f8, and that's the end of the attack. So you need to exchange the bishops, obviously, to.
Yeah, as long as the bishop is on g7, that's a good point.
Mhm.
Black can be pretty comfortable. And
Yeah.
that bishop, of course, is very important for black because it not only does defense, but sometime in the future, it's cutting through the center of the board. It'll be part of an attack on white's king.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't. Yeah, that is the downside of f4. f3, you always have like bishop h6 ideas to try to exchange that bishop off at some point.
Yeah. But on the other hand, we have the line h5 in Dragon system, and white plays h4. When black plays h5, we play g5 as a white, and after knight moves, we have f4, f5 break. But in this case, you see the queen under the rook's attack. Even if you play f5, your queen is staying under the rook's x-ray. So that's another problem white's gonna have. Although it's f5 and the pawn takes, g6 is the typical way to continue here. So yeah, typically h4, bishop h3, f5.
Okay, so black chose instead of knight h5, which to me seemed like a very natural defensive move. It just keeps that
Yeah.
side of the board blockaded. He played knight e8.
Uh-huh.
So why can't white just simply go h4, h5? I mean, I guess that's the plan, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, h4, bishop h3, and f5. Also a good idea. So now he has two breaks: h4, bishop h3, h5, f5.
Okay, so white's plan is pretty clear, and in the meantime, black's going to need to get something going with b5, rook c8, queen a5 sort of type stuff going on the king side. Queen side,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, you're right. So b5, b4 is the number one idea we have all the time. It's still in defense.
And once again, it's another pawn trying to come up to b4 and just dislodge the defending knight and cause chaos in the position.
Mm-hmm.
This knight on c5 is interesting. I don't remember seeing a knight on c5 very often, and so I wonder if that's going to end up helping black in some way or hurting him somehow.
Yeah, it became a kind of hybrid between Najdorf and Dragon now, because in Najdorf we see knight on c5 all the time. In Dragon we see the knight goes to c4 by knight a5 and knight c4.
Right.
Here, the position is pretty complicated now, because I see a lot of ideas for black and for white. There's b5, b4, but then knight goes to d5. Then you have to play something like e6. Yeah, e6 seems like the move here.
After the knight gets to d5, you mean? Or you mean
Yeah,
now?
yeah, now, yeah, okay, here.
Okay, so he's
Like-
going for this advance on the king side. Okay.
So now h5, pawn takes pawn, h pawn, h let's say pawn takes, and knight. He needs to play rook e8, right? So he needs to free that square, the f8 square for his king. So he will
Right, so
always,
he's going to have to get rid of this knight from e8. He's going to have
yeah,
to move it again at some point. So,
knight
I mean, the
c7.
only option is knight c7.
Yeah. On the other hand, yeah, knight c7, knight b5 seems like interesting idea, which I've never seen in Sicilian defense. Because if you take, then a2 hanging, and if you don't take, then I take on c3.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
That's interesting. Yeah, interesting move, knight c7. Let's say knight c7, h5, knight b5, pawn takes g6, h pawn takes, and then which pawn should black take with? H pawn or f pawn? I just wonder.
My first instinct would be to take with the h pawn.
Yeah, h pawn to keep the e6 square under control.
And actually, it's a little bit annoying for white. You can't play queen h3 because of the bishop on d7. So it's going to take
Yeah,
you still 2 moves to get doubled on the h file. So that's even more time for black to try to get some counterplay going on the
yep.
other side of the board. So
Yeah, I was thinking bishop h3, but then even if you take the bishop on d7, then queen takes, still controlling h3.
right.
And endgames, I would say, in Sicilian defense, a lot of times endgames are in favor to black, because we don't move a lot of pawns in Sicilian defense as black, and white's pawns become more of target, not attack.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, as these pieces move up the board, they're just a little bit more vulnerable to attack from black's pieces, and oftentimes the pawns on the queen side get disrupted as well. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, queen a5.
A5. Well, queen a5, I always tell my students automatically play king b1. So
Always
I
play
don't
king
know.
b1. Yeah.
Yeah, always without even thinking.
Yeah, because if something happens with the knight, if the knight on c3 is traded or forced to move, then a2 is hanging and the queen invades, and that's never a good thing for white, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. On the other hand, you see the e7 square is unprotected, so knight d5 seems like pretty annoying here. Hard to cover the e7 square then.
Huh.
And if the knight goes to e7 check, king h8 and h5 seems like very dangerous. Because the king is going to be trapped in the corner.
Right, that's not the way you want your king running. You want your... Black actually wants to start running the king back towards the center a little bit, and this knight d5, knight e7 to force him the wrong direction, exposing him to the rook on h1. So yeah, that looks a little bit scary. I wonder if his plan is to play queen takes a2, or if he's gonna... I mean, the only other option would be to play queen back to d8 if after knight d5. So
yeah, you're right. So even queen a2, then knight d7, king h8, h5, queen a1 check, king d2. I don't see how black continues that attack. Queen a5 check, okay, king goes to c3, probably, and there's like a big threat, pawn g6 and f pawn g6 and rook h7 check and checkmate coming quick. Checkmate very quick.
that was very fast. But yeah, basically, yeah, I think basically what you're saying is White's attack is coming faster.
Yeah. Because h5 and pawn g6 and knight d7. That seems, even if knight d5, e6, knight d7 check still possible.
Yeah.
King h8, h5. Let's say queen d8, pawn takes g6. You sack your knight, queen takes knight, and then rook h7 check. Seems like a very dangerous position for the king. For
Yeah, black wins that knight on e7, but the king is trapped on g8, and any check would be checkmated. But White still needs to get in there somehow.
Yeah.
But there might be like some, like if you could only get the queen to the h file, then you have like rook takes g7, and queen h7 mate possibilities in that position.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gone for something different.
Mm-hmm.
I liked, it's important to notice your opponent's weaknesses and how each move changes the position. Queen a5 does start to make some threats on the queen side for white, but at least behind the e7 pawn. So, it's important to notice that, and maybe he should have gone for knight d5. Those lines seemed very promising.
Yeah.
But f5 is also
f5,
interesting.
Interesting, but I don't. White is slow here. I think if you take f pawn check, then queen under attack. Bishop c4 checking h8. Then it's I don't know. It's kind of slow. White kind of slowed down here, I think, with the f5 move. Okay, knight. Well, he's allowing f6 to happen.
Yeah, I thought maybe he should have played bishop e5, perhaps.
Yeah,
Or...
something like that. Yeah, or any move, but you want to keep your knight on e8, so f6 stop f6, because f6 seems like
That seems unpleasant, yeah.
yeah, it seems like very dangerous for black. f6 pawn takes then h5. Yeah,
Well,
this is now
then the
not
bishop
looking.
has to go back to h8, and it's kind
Yeah,
of trapped there for a very long time.
and bishop can go to g5 and just keep that bishop on h8 the whole game.
Yeah, and if your bishop, your prized bishop on g7 ends up being trapped on h8, then it can't participate in any attack on the queen side.
Yeah.
That would be very annoying. And also, not only that, but black's king will be pretty stuck. And if the h file becomes open, then that bishop will be targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this is f6 another thing is d6 becomes isolated. Yeah, the position is not looking good after f6. Honestly.
Yeah, black reacted maybe. I was surprised he moved very quickly there. Well, maybe not very quickly. He spent 46 seconds on that move.
On 97?
On knight c7, yeah, I would have expected a little bit more time used there because it's pretty critical. I mean, you don't know for sure that he's going to take. I mean, f6 is also obvious. I wonder if he missed that, though.
Yeah.
It's possible he just assumed that white was going to try to take and open things up, but actually f6 is very effective here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of it, I don't like that the d6 pawn becomes isolated and a target for that rook on d1.
Oh, here's a nice variation I have. f6, pawn f6, bishop h8, king b1, knight b5, knight d5, and rook c8, knight e7 mate. So he can lose very quickly here. He can lose very quickly here.
Yeah, that knight sneaks in to e7. That's what I meant by the king doesn't have any moves on g8, so it's vulnerable there, and Arslan found the way to potentially exploit that with this knight d5 move again. Once the knight moves away, then you're coming in on e7, and if the knight is trapped on g8, then well, that would be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, knight b5 for black seems like very strong idea, but then knight b5 allows knight d5, which can be just can be over because knight on e7 gonna be very strong. Another thing is after f6, pawn f6, pawn f6. Oh, he didn't even go for that. Interesting.
Wow. I think both players are just focused on the idea of just a million pieces capturing on g6.
Yeah.
They just want to open things up so badly. Well, or White's trying to open things up here. So, maybe f6 seemed a little bit counterintuitive to him. He thought about it, though, for a while. I mean, he's down under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So the time pressure is going to start to play a role for White in this position. We have
Yeah,
a question from Anonymous6102. Are there opponents of yours who seem to have your number? I definitely have some, for sure. And I don't know if they have my number or what it is, but I definitely have opponents that I just cannot seem to beat. This might be just psychological. I know that you've expressed that too, Arslan, in the past.
Yeah. There are inconvenient players. Even Anatoly Karpov had those some grandmasters, like average grandmasters, who he could never beat, and he had like a negative record with them, like 0-6 or something.
Oof.
Yeah, so there are always players who you can't play.
And I think sometimes it's mostly just a psychological thing. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like clashing styles. I just think that if somebody starts to get on a roll against you, then it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that if you're nervous about playing somebody, that you end up messing up and losing to them.
Yeah, you're right.
You got to have confidence. I think if you start getting, if somebody gets on a roll against you and you start losing your confidence, then it just spirals.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not always, but I definitely have some opponents like that. Okay.
Yeah, seems like well, I'm trying to find a way for black to defend the position. The threat is pawn g6. If we're gonna take f pawn, then queen h3. So I was thinking maybe bishop h8. So hg and fg, queen h3, rook f7. But that defends. But or bishop e5 instead of bishop h8, and then do the same thing. Because like typically, if h pawn takes, f pawn takes, and rook f7 is like the best defense we can have for black. That's probably it. Yeah, bishop e5, and if pawn takes, no matter which pawn takes, we have to take with the f pawn. And
and then try to guard the h pawn with the rook.
yeah, if queen h3, rook f7, and luckily white will not have f pawn takes g6 because it's a free queen, bishop on d7, pinning the pawn.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, bishop to e5 is looking like it might hold on. But yeah, tricky task here for black for sure, because he's got to be worried about either pawn takes on g6. He's got to be worried about f6 still is in the air.
Yeah, f6 still there.
And it's a lot of variations to look at.
Bishop e5, yeah, like even after f6 is not that dangerous, and after bishop e5.
They are called Angstgangers? Gengners? I never heard of that before. Okay, interesting. The opponent who you fear the most. Angstgangers.
Angstgangers, never heard of it either. Some b5. I would say b5 kind of slow. Even if you play b4, knight b1, so what? Queen a2, just one pawn, that's it.
Right.
Not tough here. Very slow.
And in the meantime, your king is just getting ripped apart.
Yes, because white is already here. You needed to defend your king.
I wonder if he's just going to take with the f pawn and try to run with his king like to f7, e8, or something like that, and get out of there. Of course, he might have to sacrifice his bishop on g7 to get safe. But
and
okay,
if you have to
took with the h
bishop,
pawn. I'm a little surprised he took with the h pawn.
Well, now we should see a beautiful end by white. Somehow they should sacrifice a queen or something, and then checkmate black, I think.
Sacrifice
queen
h3.
Yeah, some beautiful lines we should see. A queen h3, rook c8, a queen h7, king f8. Maybe they should start with f6. Yeah, f6 and game over here.
Well, f6 you can't play queen h3 anymore though, right?
Yeah, f6, but then where the bishop goes. Rook h8, then we can sack rook h8, king h8, queen h1, and queen h6. Game over.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so f6. Let me just show this on the board a little bit. I can't make the moves with the pieces, but I can draw arrows. So,
you draw. Yeah, you can draw. Okay,
I can only draw the arrows. So yeah, and then after pawn takes, bishop h8. There's potential rook sacrifices on h8, king takes, followed by queen h1 check, and then you invade with the queen and try to mate on g7, where you got the pawn on f6 still helping. So yeah, that's going to be a tricky defensive task for black.
There's knight e6, but then knight e6, bishop c4, and then rook h1, game over here. No, this game cannot be saved for black. This is.
It just feels like even if it feels like you don't have to even have the win calculated. Like f6 just has to be played here.
Yeah, f6.
And on top of it, d6 is going to be isolated.
Well, yeah, that's. I don't think we're gonna get to that pawn. We're gonna get the king here.
Okay, but white is down to 20 seconds. So, I mean, they do have an increment of 2 seconds, but you really, I mean, you need time to play an accurate attack, even one that maybe feels very, I don't know. Here, it doesn't seem that hard to come up with the concepts, but like even things like queen g3 and queen h2 and going queen h7 mate could be a possibility.
If he plays take on bishop h8, I would close my eyes and I play rook h8 in half a second. This is just the sacrifice that you will never even have to think about all day. And queen h6, knight d6, bishop c4, pawn c4, and rook h1. I don't see how black stops the mate after.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Because I was gonna say bishop c4. You're letting him take your bishop with this pawn, but then of course the whole point of that really is just to get your other rook into the attack. Yeah. And a big problem for black is that he spent a lot of time moving all of his pieces to the queen side, but he still doesn't have any serious threats there. And in the meantime, he's being forced to defend, and those pieces can't get back to defend so easily.
Yeah, it's everything was very slow on black side. You need to play more aggressively here on the queen side. He was very slow, or just defend better on b4. Takes obviously attacking attacking the rook, has to take. And now knight goes to, let's say, b1. Or knight knight b1 or knight e2.
You can almost go anywhere. I don't think black has a mate. You might even be able to just play knight d5, but okay, knight b1 just to be safe.
Yeah, knight b1 and what's next? Rook h8 has to be played to stop the rook. But then exchanges and you just down a piece here.
Well, bishop c4 could also come in, defending the a2 pawn and threatening like a mate on f7 if you move your rook away.
Yeah, this game. I don't think this game needs any comments anymore.
Okay, we'll pack it up. We'll be back. We'll be back in a minute. I'm just kidding. Obviously, we want to see how this ends. Oh, knight f5. Wow, what is this?
He goes for it. Okay,
Yeah, he's totally going for it.
Yeah, but
this seems
pawn
unnecessary, but
yeah. No. If pawn takes, then bishop c5. If you take, then d7 hanging. That's why he did that, I think. So, and then bishop goes to d4 if you don't take.
There's tactics along the d file here.
Yeah.
But I think you probably have to take it because otherwise queen h3 is now possible because the bishop is blocked by that knight on f5.
Maybe taking with a bishop also makes sense.
Take it with the bishop, pawn takes, and then bishop d4 though. Bishop d4. Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
e5. Hold on, he missed e5. Is e5?
No, but we can. If e5, we take the bishop, and then we play f6 as a threat, huge threat.
Yeah, huge threat because there's also the idea of knight b3 check. I was thinking at some point, knight b3 rook c1 they start something. But yeah, the game is.
I think Weisz can have checkmate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Has anybody flagged in the rapid games? No, I don't think so. We've had a queen blunder, like a whole queen for free, and we're
gonna have it right now. We're gonna have it right now.
No.
Give me two more seconds.
Yeah, the players are under 5 seconds now, so keep an eye on the clocks. But this is looking really bad for Black's king. There's queen f6, rook h8 is a threat. Queen h7 is made right away. Okay. Oof. Okay, so that's game one down.
So there's two more, right?
There's one more rapid game.
One more rapid game.
So they'll be switching colors.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a nice attacking game by White. Very, very well played.
Yeah. That was very exciting game. Yeah, like I said, I expect exciting games, and that's what we had.
What just happened here? The last little bit got blitzed out pretty quickly. Okay, he took back on f5, so he didn't even take the bishop on d4. That's. I mean, I don't. Maybe there was.
Yeah, they had
anyway.
like 5 seconds each.
There was nothing to do anyway, and the queen finally came back to defend, but it was too late. Yeah, queen h7. It's a nice mate. Well, nobody flagged. Let me see if the second game has started.
I'm waiting. But I don't think it started.
Yeah, why haven't they started a new game yet? Let me see. If I can just make sure they're.
Seems like Jack is upset a little bit, and maybe he doesn't wanna. He wanna take a second, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to have a tough game like that and then to jump right back into another game.
Yeah.
But that's the format, and okay, Brian's having a little issue with Skype, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's Bryan, who is upset. Maybe he didn't like the way he won the game. I don't know. Seems like it was pretty clear.
Oh, okay. Let me just. We're missing. We're missing Brian's video, so we'll get that back as soon as we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're missing it.
But that's okay. We'll start the next game. Yeah, certainly tough to lose the first rapid game, but now Jack gets his chance as White.
Oh yeah, that's.
And the game has started, so he's. This is the thing though. We've had players time and time again that have lost the first rapid game, and then they need to make a comeback in this game, and they've pushed too hard and they've lost again, and then they dig
Yeah.
themselves into an even deeper hole, which he's got to be very careful to avoid that. Okay, so we have a Caro Kann.
Okay,
exchange
we have
variation.
Caro-Kann Panos attack, c4, or bishop d3 and c3, which I've seen a lot. Keeping it simple, yeah, that's what's gonna happen in c3. So we get
Oops, let me
Carlsbad's
this.
type of pawn structure here, where with pawn minority attacks on black side.
Yeah, and that structure that Arslan's talking about is with pawns on b3, c3, and d4, and then and the a2 pawn, and then black advances his minority and tries to break the pawn chain on the queen side. Potentially is a plan for black later on. And you see that structure come up time and time again. You see it in the Queen's Gambit and other openings too. So yeah, it depends if white plays c3, which probably he will.
Yeah, once you play bishop d3, usually you don't want to play c4.
No, Bryan is not sitting very still. He had trouble with his. He was on Skype on his iPad, so having a little bit of a technical issue, but he should be back soon with that. But he is playing the game right now.
Okay.
He's not sitting very still. That would be pretty remarkable.
That would be very impressive to sit like that the whole time.
Yes, indeed.
It's 100% focus mode.
Okay, yeah, let me just get the score updated because we did have Bryan won the first game, so that was worth 3 points. So he's in a 3-point lead at the moment. And so we're going to see if maybe Jack can level the score here and take it to the blitz. Let the blitz be the deciding factor. I mean, it's going to be the deciding factor anyway, but I mean, if he were to lose this game, which anything can still happen, of course, but we've seen the last few matches, the player that lost the first game lost the second game also, and then had a 6-point deficit. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he can make a comeback here. He definitely needs to. It's a lot of points to be down.
Yeah, and in this position, I don't know if knight b4 is a good idea here, because I've analyzed this opening a little bit, but not that much. Remember considering this, but seems like black gets an easy pawn minority attack. But knight b4, and in pawn minority attack, if you can trade the bishop, the light square bishop, then it's easier for black to play. But he just plays e6 and bishop d7 is ignoring bishop on d3. Knight b4 seems pretty obvious here. I wonder why they don't play bishop.
Yeah, and just in general, you might like to get the bishop off the board and get the bishop pair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially in this position with a Carlsbad pawn structure.
I was a little bit surprised white played h3 actually, because I didn't think that bishop g4 was really a threat as long as you had your knight on e2. You have an easy f3 block, or maybe even h3 in that position. So I was a little bit surprised to see h3. I didn't think you needed to play both h3 and knight e2.
Yeah, I would say c3 is number one move. I would say h3 is not bad. Maybe he didn't want him to play bishop g4, bishop h5, bishop g6, which is called Karpov's idea. Karpov used it in French defense. So, like I said, when you play pawn minority Carlsbad pawn structure, right? You want to trade the light square bishops. Black wants to trade it.
Okay, well, it looks like, I mean, now is his chance, right? Because the next most natural move for white is to play c3. So if black's going to play knight b4, now is the last chance. And already a 2-minute advantage for Jack. Although we saw that didn't really help him last time.
Yeah, it's interesting that he spends so much time in openings.
Yeah, I've worked with Bryan a bit in the past, and he has kind of the opposite problem that most students have, which is to move very quickly and impulsively, and he does not do that. He thinks through his moves very carefully. He makes very thoughtful decisions, but sometimes he overanalyzes the situation a bit. But he's certainly a very dangerous player. He can easily play at master level. So.
Yeah, I remember Bryan since he was 12, 11, when he was 1600. He was at the summer camp back in 2014, I think.
Yeah.
So he's been in the game for a long time. Obviously very experienced. So Queen C7 played, still ignoring knight b4. And I don't know, why not play c3? Or maybe he doesn't want c3 because then a6, b5, b4, so there's a hook. But without c3, you cannot play this opening anywhere.
Yeah,
There's
because
always,
black can always just get rid of that bishop on d3 at any moment that he
Yeah.
chooses. Unless you're going to play a3. No, you played c3.
okay, final was c3.
Uh,
Final was
yeah.
c3. Well, I remember in this opening you play c3 on the, I think, third move or something. This is move number, what, 9?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So now white needs to, well, black is gonna, well, they need to also do something with the knight on f6. You don't want white to take on f6. So maybe knight, hold on, knight d7 also doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good for black.
Yeah, for black. Because then there's nothing on the king side defending your king in your castle.
Right. And if you're trying to play e5, that could backfire a little bit if you isolate your d5 pawn. So I'm not sure what the knight. I mean, maybe you could do it, but yeah, just bishop d7. I don't think he's really afraid of bishop takes f6 at this very moment.
Yeah, because he can castle on. Yeah.
Yeah, he can castle queenside maybe and get a rook down the g file towards white's king. So that's why he's saying, okay, you can take my knight. I doubt that white will take it. Yeah, knight d2.
Yeah. I guess they're gonna be just waiting until black castles now. White is gonna be waiting for black.
Right.
And
yeah, that's a good point. It's hard for white to really come up with a plan until he knows where black's king is going to go. And but black isn't really under any pressure to make that decision yet.
Yeah, and maybe for that reason, if black still doesn't castle, maybe c4 makes sense to break the center of the open, and because the queen ends up on the open file, because c4, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop e7, rook c1. The queen is under x-ray, and white gets some attack here. I think isolated pawn, but white gets nice attacking chances. There's bishop f4 and knight d6 check also coming after.
Yeah, interesting. But I have a feeling being up more than almost 4 minutes on the clock, I guess 3.5 minutes now on the clock, white doesn't need to be in a hurry to create complications. I think he can let Bryan think or continue to think in these kind of early positions and then when the moment is right, create the complications to try to win.
Mm-hmm.
When once Bryan's really low on time and won't be able to make the best decisions.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
wait.
keep the tension. Yeah, keep the tension. Make him guess.
Yeah, because if you start playing c4 or some aggressive moves, then he still has time to figure out the complications and the details, and I would wait. I think.
Well, now what black is gonna do? Maybe a6 then, because a6, a3, and well, a3, c4 and rook c1 seems very natural for this position now. Okay, knight h5.
So he's starting g5 because bishop g3 would be just be attacked too many times.
Mm-hmm.
And how is white going to deal with this? I guess no. How do you deal with that? It's not easy actually.
Yeah. Well, f3 bishop f2 first thing comes to mind, but then knight. Yeah, f3 bishop. Then knight. Yeah, that's probably the only option. f3 and
f3.
And the bishop f2, but.
But then your position around your king looks kind of like Swiss cheese. You got all those dark square weaknesses.
Yeah.
but I mean, if the only thing that black can do is a bishop to h2 check, then you're not really in much danger. It would be scary though if black were to play g5 after f3, and you go back. If you could somehow get h5 and then g4 in and start forcing trades of pawns, then you'd be in trouble as white.
Yeah, there's another move, queen e1, g5, bishop g3, knight g3, knight g3.
Yeah.
Seems like also another possibility, but then you're just playing without your bishop, which is not comfortable for this position, I would say, for white.
Well, I feel like with the knight hanging on h5, there must be some other, like, maybe you could go, I mean, it's a little ugly looking, but knight to c1? Or just attack
Yeah,
the
knight
knight?
c1, knight f4, I was thinking, and
Knight f4, and you have to play, like, bishop to c2, and everything's retreating, but
yeah, then
maybe,
g5.
I mean, at least that way you can maintain your bishop pair. So if you're really worried about giving up your h4 bishop, that would be the way to keep it, but, I mean, it's pretty awkward to be retreating all your pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in that position you could still play knight d3 and try to come back out again. So it's not like you're trapped forever.
Yeah. Well, like I said, another thing is you see the knight going to the side. That means you can play in the center. So because the knight kind of on the edge and not playing, not participating. So c4 again makes sense. And at this point, I think even without calculation, I'm saying c4 because it seems logical. C4, if g5, bishop, pawn d5, bishop g3, and after all the exchanges, what we get? Well, we don't have anything.
After all the exchanges, maybe you have something like queen h5 hitting d5 and f7. Do you have that?
Well, yeah, I was thinking, but they cancel long every time, and you try to do something like that. But it's actually then, yeah, if you continue.
I don't know, maybe we can start taking stuff in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
actually, the bishop.
About, what move were we talking about here for white?
C4?
Starting with c4, yeah, c4, and
Yeah.
then if g5, yeah, this would be a way to create a big mess, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pawn
D.
Bishop g3.
Pawn.
So white loses a pawn, but at the end of it, you have this active rook coming up the board. Maybe you have this queen h5 move, and the d5 pawn is under attack. I don't know if you can see my screen, Arslan, but I got a ton of arrows on it. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, you can't even tell what's going on, even with the arrows. Yeah, I wish I could move the pieces a little bit. But, yeah. No.
Well, I would say no. That c4 looks risky because first of all, queen from g3 will be attacking the bishop on d3. Second is queen h5. The g5 pawn is blocking, so you cannot take on d5. That's another thing. C4 look risky, but look logical to me, because your opponent playing on the side, you play in the center.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, he played my move.
He probably listening to this stream. So,
but I mean, if you don't see, I don't think c4 was an easy move to spot necessarily. And if you don't see that and you're not happy with the trades on g3, then this was the only other option. So you can kind of figure out this move by process of elimination. It looks very strange.
Yeah.
But it's also, maybe a little bit annoying for black. But I would go knight f4. For sure.
Yeah, knight f4, has to be played because the knight is hanging. Once you play knight, now.
I mean, I guess you don't have to drop your bishop back, but I think you want to. I guess you could play bishop g3. No, you can't play bishop g3.
Yeah, lose a pawn.
Yeah, that would lose a pawn. We can't do that. Okay. Yeah, I expect bishop to c2, and then white might try to play knight back out to d3 at some point, and kind of redevelop the pieces that way. And yeah, if Jack's strategy is to drag out the game, then avoiding trades would be a way to do that. But the time advantage is gone after that last thing.
Yeah.
They're totally even on time. So.
Yeah. But let's continue the bishop g3. Bishop g3, pawn, knight d3, bishop g3, pawn g3, queen g3, knight c5. We have very active pieces, and queen. Then there's a knight d7 threat, knight b7 threat, queen h5 coming out.
Yeah, the thing about that variation, if white plays bishop g3 here and black takes on d3, then yeah, you're right. I mean, black wins a pawn, but the cost of that pawn is white has great piece activity in the end. I mean, they got the rook coming up the f file, which makes it hard for black to castle. And the queen might get chased around a little bit. The knights can jump into the center of the board on the dark squares. So yeah, not white would have some compensation there.
Yeah, there's definitely compensation.
He's thinking about that right now. This is kind of a critical moment, actually. Do you go into that, or do you?
I just noticed there's also knight takes h3 move, knight h3 pawn h3 bishop g3, giving black draw. If they want to draw, they can get it right now. Well, how many points does draw give to each player? 1.5.
Draw would be 1.5. Yeah.
So yeah, knight h3. I would go for it. I'm black, and if I get a draw, then I'm ahead still. Knight h3 pawn h3 bishop g3.
Maybe. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, knight h3. If you take, bishop takes g3, pawn takes, and queen comes in, you have perpetual check at the end. Yeah.
Another thing is knight d3. Then there's a move in between bishop d6. We missed it, I think, both. Bishop d6, then knight d3, and then white is winning in that position because the d7 bishop is going to be really bad. There's f4 and knight d5 is coming. That's going to be.
Yeah, totally missed that. So white doesn't lose a pawn after all in that variation.
Yeah.
But I wonder if what can happen in those sort of situations is you spend so much time calculating knight d3 and focusing on that maybe you forget about knight h3.
Yeah.
It'd be very easy to have forgotten about that. And if knight h3, then maybe white has to play something like king h2 given the match situation. Although it's ugly.
King h2, then yeah, knight just comes back to f4 still. Very dangerous position then.
Yeah.
But yeah, knight d3 doesn't look good after I saw that bishop d6. That position, what French type of bishop on d7 gonna be stuck, and you will never bring it back to the game then. Well, it's gonna be hard at least.
Fix Jack's camera here a little bit so we get a better view. He was leaning so far forward, concentrating, that we couldn't even see his face anymore.
Yeah, let's see. There's also like a simple move g5 also, just to maintaining all the threats, and then castling along h5, h5, f5, just keep coming like that. Because for white, it's going to be very hard to start any attack on the queen side because of the knight on c1 and bishop on d3 is everything kind of stuck here. Yeah, g5 if you want to win, and knight h3 if you want to draw.
Yeah, I would. I mean, taking a 3-point advantage into the blitz would be a significant advantage, but ending the game this early gives time for more blitz games. And
that's why he's taking his time right now.
Yeah, he may not really feel that comfortable. He might want to drag this game out a little bit. If he feels like he has a good chance to win, he might want to use up some of the time so there's fewer blitz games. But of course, if you're playing for a win here, that also carries the risk of not actually winning. Yeah.
So if it's a draw, then it's going to be 4.5 to 1.5, right?
It would be 4.5 to 1.5, correct? Yeah. So yeah, the draw is knight takes h3. White can't really afford not to take it. Okay, so he's taking the draw. Assuming white takes on h3, then black will play bishop takes on g3. Okay, so I mean the good news for Jack is that he's not going to have as hard a job as the other players did in previous matches where they were down 6 points going into the blitz. This is definitely possible to make a comeback in this position.
Yeah. Okay, now he knows the draw is in his pocket, so he's gonna think for 4 minutes and then like Hikaru Nakamura does.
Oh no. I mean, you have enough pawns. You could make an argument that black could play for a win from here, I guess.
Yeah, but to do that, you want to most likely castle long, but f7 hanging, then that's a problem. If you could if he was already castled, then f5, g5, giving black good chances for a win.
Yeah, but he could play like. Oh no, I guess he doesn't have any way to. I thought he could check a few times and maneuver the queen to be able to check on h5 and win the rook, but the queen guards that. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, so I think he is just thinking right now about whether or not it makes sense to play for a win from here. And yeah, don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this h pawn even could be very fast.
Yeah.
H pawn could be kind of a quick piece here. There's not going to be like an immediate checkmate though. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like. Wait a minute. Oh, so there was a draw offer. Okay. Yeah. There we go. We have a draw. All right.
Okay.
So second game is a draw. Let me just check with Bryan, see if we can get his video back quickly before we start the blitz. We'll try to do that very quickly. Yeah, and they're going to take like a 2-minute break anyway, so.
Okay.
All right, and yeah, so a little bit of an anticlimactic finish, but I think that Black was smart to take the draw. I mean, going into the blitz with a 3-point lead is also pretty significant. So.
Yeah, you're right. So he needs to win 3 games in a row to equalize now. Let's see.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. We've seen some players getting on a real roll in the blitz, and they have an hour roughly for the blitz, so they'll get a fair amount of games in. Jack is going to have to be aggressive though, and so that should lead to some exciting games.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now it's a perfect time for him to analyze the dragon. What he should have played to Queen F3 and Bishop E3, F4 and Queen F3. Definitely 97, 95 was very slow. I don't know if he has time for that.
I don't think so. I think we're going to be starting very soon.
Okay, so
I just need him to get his camera up.
But like you said, Bryan plays different openings, so it's not happening now.
Yeah, he's perfectly capable of switching between like 3 or 4 different things. So.
Okay.
And so yeah, as you guys can see, the scores. The real's actual score is on the left, next to the players' faces. Bryan Weisz has a 4.5 to 1.5 point lead at the moment. And in the blitz portion of the match, we'll be playing 3 minutes with a 2-second increment. And each game will be worth 1 point. So Jack has his work cut out for him. Definitely possible to make a comeback in the blitz. He just needs to win early. Because if Bryan wins a game and the score keeps growing, the distance between them keeps growing, then that'll be it. So anyway, there'll be certainly some fighting games coming up soon as players are ready. And in the meantime, Thank you everybody for joining us. If anybody has any questions for us, feel free to let us know. We'll be happy to do our best to try to answer them.
So it's going to be 3+2, right?
3+2, yep.
As you remember in the first game, Bryan spent 3 minutes for the first 5 moves, so he might lose very quickly then.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't adjust his playing style here for this portion of the match, then I mean, he certainly can't be using a whole bunch of time for the first few moves.
Yeah. Well, we'll see then. So they didn't start yet, right?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, it says online, but okay.
Yeah. Okay. Bryan says he needs just 2 minutes, so should be 2 minutes and then we'll be getting started. That's the official word.
Okay. Well, probably Bryan is celebrating his victories right now.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm just chatting with him. Hold on one second. Let me get him. Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to. So he's having a little bit of technical difficulty with his video, and I just don't want to spend a ton of time on that. Okay, I gotta invite him to this Skype meeting. Okay, hold on, let me do that. Yeah, no, I told Bryan that we got to start now, so he should be starting any second.
Seems like Jack is bored and can't wait to start the games.
Yeah, he was back very quickly.
Yeah, he just can't wait to take his rematch. Okay, Bryan is back. Seems like.
Okay.
Alright.
I just needed to get the.
Hey,
sound-
Ian, it's Jamie
There
again.
you go.
I don't know, so I gave Bryan a different iPad. I don't know why it's not working.
Okay, well we gotta start the games, you guys, because Jack's waiting. So,
Hey, Bryan, are you all right?
Bryan, you gotta turn your microphone off too, and your sound, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can start any second. Yeah, because at this point Jack really needs the time. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Jack needs every minute he can get to try to make a comeback here in this match.
Yeah, so we should start doing penalties now.
It's definitely dragging on there a little bit.
Yeah, so for each minute you lose 1 point, Bryan.
Who's the next top dog? Asked Anonymous 9644. Well, so far, the top dog challenge, we've had 3 of them. And, well, for those of you that don't know, every year we've done a match between, like a round robin tournament between the master instructors at the Chess Club of Fairfield County. And each year it's had a different winner. So it's been between myself, Arslan, Ryan Young, who's been commentating on some of these matches as well, and Andrew Reba. And each year's had a different winner. And so next year will be our 4th one, and it should be Ryan's turn.
Yeah,
So we'll
it's
see what
Ryan's
happens.
turn.
It's Ryan's turn.
But
Although I'm
so
not going
far-
to make it easy for him.
Yeah, performances were not so giving me many chances. Okay, Queen B6 is played now. He's changing up things. Queen B6, stopping Bishop E3. Like I said, he probably looked her up and he looked it up and knows the best move. Now, Queen B6.
Oh, is that... yeah, this is an improvement from the first rapid game, right?
Yeah. Queen B6, well, typical moves might B3 and Bishop E3 here. And seems like that's what he's gonna play.
And Bryan just has to be careful not to fall into a deep think here.
Yeah, but Knight B3 and Bishop E3 seems very
Play it.
natural.
Just play it, yeah.
Yeah, he's taking too much time for blitz. Yeah, like I said.
There he goes. And what's the move here? A5 or continue developing bishop G7 and castles?
No, A6, A6 Bishop B3 Queen C7 seems natural here.
A6, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want something coming into B5.
Yeah, A6 is still in defense. When you play put your queen on C7, you want to play A6 all the time.
A6, B5 attack on the queen side essentially.
Yeah.
Knight C5.
Okay.
Okay, that's a much more aggressive move, I guess.
Yeah,
No,
now
still bishop E3, right?
Bishop B3, yeah, Bishop B3. Hold on, there's Bishop G4 he wants to play, and after, yeah, he doesn't have, but actually we need to calculate. Bishop B3, Bishop G4, Queen F2, Knight E4, and doesn't work. Bishop takes Queen, Knight takes Queen, and Bishop takes Knight, so it's losing for Black, so, yeah, Bishop B3 is a good move.
Say that at the end again?
Bishop G4, Bishop E3, Bishop G4,
Yeah.
Queen F2, Bishop takes, Knight takes E4, bishop takes b6, and then knight takes f2, bishop takes f2.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not gonna work for black. That's why I think.
Oh, I
that's
thought you were doing knight f takes on e4.
Oh, then just knight takes and knight
And
takes and
knight
then
takes.
bishop.
So
Yeah,
same thing. Yeah. I think,
yeah,
okay.
same thing.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know what's going on with Bryan's Skype, but okay, just put that over here. Looks like he disconnected from the video again, so hopefully we'll have him back soon. Well, that's a distraction for him a little bit because now he's down to 43 seconds. What's he doing?
Yeah.
He's got to make a move.
So that makes this match more interesting because
Yeah, certainly if Jack can narrow the score a little bit, that'll be very good for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't want somebody just to run out of time. That's a little bit. I don't know. I think his Skype is disconnected, but he's playing the game on a different device, so I don't think he's disconnected from the actual game.
I don't think he will take this much. No, he has a huge time disadvantage now.
I think he was just thinking. I think
You
he
think-
was just
you
thinking
think-
that, using
wow.
all of his time there. Yeah.
That's just too much now. Well, now even move like queen b4 will give you some problems.
Oh yeah, because then with the pin, the e4 pawn is hanging.
Yeah. Queen b4, bishop b5 check, bishop d7, bishop takes d7. Maybe king d7 then. I don't know if king should take if you unless you're winning the e4 pawn, you should not take with your king, of course. He just ignores. Okay. Now, Jack's goal should be finding unusual, unexpected moves.
Unexpected moves, yeah, that
Yeah.
are still safe, but
Yeah.
unexpected to surprise Bryan and make him run out of time, or make a quick move without really having the necessary time to consider what he should do.
Yeah.
He played e5 very quickly though.
Yeah. Right now, bishop g4 seems like unexpected move. Bishop g4, queen g3, knight e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen g4, queen b4 check, and you get the bishop. So that's unexpected move, even if it's not the best move, but that will surprise him.
Yeah, that would definitely surprise him a little bit and make him think. Yeah, that's a nice tactic. I mean, you have to be careful about pieces that are not protected. This bishop c4 move is giving white some issues if black can find a way to exploit the fact that it's not protected on that square.
Yeah. Yeah, now it seems like Jack is catching up on time, so it's gonna be
Oh boy.
very interesting game. Yeah, very interesting game. We're both gonna be playing on relying on the delay. Queen d8 has to be played quick, I think. Oh, yeah, queen d8 because queen c6, bishop b5, losing on the spot.
Ooh, that's a nice tactic. Oh yeah. Queen c6. There's the pin. Bishop b5, and then if queen takes the knight, then knight c7 check and takes the queen. Yeah, that's like a puzzle rush tactic.
Yeah. Now pawn takes, bishop b5 check. King has to go to f8, otherwise bishop d. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Bishop d7.
Well,
Yeah, bishop d7. After knight c5, bishop d7 is good. Bishop d7 has to be played quickly, because the knight on d5 will be hanging.
oh, and all of a sudden, there's no time advantage for anybody.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, they're both down to very little time.
Yeah.
Keep one eye on the clock. Keep one eye on the board.
Yeah.
We
Queen
had
a5 check.
We've had a couple games where people just get down to like less than a second and they barely keep it going. And
Yeah.
it's
So
very
that's
thrilling.
what Bryan right now. He has 1 second every time.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Come on, play faster.
Yeah, it's hard to
Oh.
comment on the moves at this point because the moves are coming so quickly. But it looks like White has solidified his position,
Yeah.
and the problem is for Black, what do you do with the rook on h8? You can't get it in the game. So I like White.
G8. 4. Yeah, it's not easy. Very tough position for Black. Queen e6 has to come back after pawn 6. Rook e8 has to be played.
Yeah, but rook e8, and then Black is gobbling some pawns. Okay, he should have
Yeah.
gone to rook e8 to begin
Rook
with.
e8 immediately, yeah. King g8. And queen e6 if queen d7.
Okay, how
Queen
do you
e6.
get your pieces out if you're Black?
Queen e6, the only move, yeah. And then f6. Pawn cannot check because... Okay, trade queens, I think. No questions, and f6. Oh, f6, yeah. Well, this is better.
Okay, bishop f8 is even better.
Yeah, trade, and then king g7. King g7. Black is now somehow holding up still. Rook A1. Rook A1 should have been played, so stopping Rook A8 move. Oh, Rook C8.
Well, now Rook C2 though. I
Yeah,
don't
Rook
know
C2.
who is better here, to be honest.
Yeah, now it's unclear. Well, White's probably better because they have more active pieces. Because knight on H6 is dead. Rook D8 has to be played. He's not developing his pieces. That's a problem.
Yeah, this Rook on H8
Rook
needs to get in
D8,
the game.
stopping Bishop D5. Bishop D5, and this is game over probably. Or this.
Ooh, yeah. Rook
King
F8
G4.
next.
Oh, you can play lose the King G4, Rook G1 losing. Yeah.
You have to be very careful there. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, like I
and
said.
there's Rook H1 threats followed by
Oh, that's
B1
mate.
Queen.
That's mate.
Oh, it's mate.
Oh.
It's mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rook F8, Rook G1.
Rook G8, yeah. Rook F8,
Rook
Rook
G8.
G8. Rook
Oh, wait, it's
F5.
not mate.
Rook F5 losing piece, and yeah.
Yeah, he just takes the piece. But
Now Rook F. Yeah. Rook B7 check. King
Okay.
H8.
Black just needs to resign. He needs to resign and move on to the next game. Come on.
Yeah.
You can't play this out. Well, actually,
No.
almost a mistake there by White. Almost. Close one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's game over.
Yeah, he needs
definitely.
to. I mean, with the increment, you just have to resign this and move on to the next game. You're wasting time
The
now.
king goes to E5 and easy. Okay, the last hope.
One trick, he wants to skewer
Yeah.
the rook. But Bryan's not going to fall for that. Yeah, Jack let his time get down too
Rook
low.
H1. Rook H1. Hold on. Rook H1. Rook H1 was a good move here. Rook
He's
H1
starting
was.
mate on. Oh no, there's no mate. There's no mate.
There's no mate. Rook H1 was winning right now, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, he missed Rook H1 move. That's interesting.
Yeah, Rook H1 and then Rook takes B2 and then Rook back to H2, skewering him, right? The same idea that he wanted to play. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you
that
could
would've
have
been
won
very
the game. Suddenly, you could have won the game.
Well,
Now it's hopeless
it
because
shows
there's no
what I know.
Yeah, no counterplay, and this is losing now.
Yeah, absolutely no counterplay here for
Now
Black.
Bishop G8 and picking up all the pawns.
There's not really a way for White to screw this up at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a free pawn. Yeah, better just stop and.
Well, since we don't have the video of Bryan, I'll add a picture of him.
Yeah.
I have a picture. I gotta add a picture of him, but let's just see. Is this game gonna end? What's going on?
Yeah, he promotes with check. That's a problem.
Promote with check.
Yeah.
Jeez. Otherwise, he'd have tricks here.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the king is just on the wrong square.
Yeah. Well, now the rook can even take the pawn on h2 sacrifice. Bishop and 2 pawns cannot be stopped here.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's start another game because
Oh, come
that's
on, Jack. You
best.
gotta
Yeah.
You got to. I mean, I know you don't want to lose the game, but it's over, and
Yeah.
you got to move on to the next game.
Yeah.
You got to get. You have to be thinking about your overall match strategy here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Bryan extends his lead, winning that game. He's now 5.5 to 1.5. And we have
Okay,
about
Queen
45 minutes left in the match. So, sorry, go ahead.
Queen is an interesting move in rule up. I've never seen this move before. Is that something like a preparation, or is it just trying to confuse the opponent? Because Queen e7 doesn't look good here.
Yeah, I don't know. He might just be. He might be feeling more confident now and playing a little more loosely. I think that's a risky strategy because there's still plenty of time in the match. I mean, not plenty of time, but there's enough time that White could make a comeback, and so I don't think you want to start playing risky stuff here yet.
Yeah, I don't like knight c3 because.
Where's the knight gonna go?
Knight d5 is idea, but bishop d7 stops it, and I don't see anything after where the knight goes. Well, you can get into bad position after knight f6, bishop g5, h6, knight d5. Yes, but if he sees knight d5 coming, plays bishop d7, I don't see any problems for black.
This picture is so big. Sorry. Just getting it up so that we can see what Bryan looks like at least. Not too much difference between that and the video at least. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, now knight d5 is coming, so I think really Bryan just messed up a little bit here. Bishop d7 I think should have been played. Now it's hard to stop knight d5 idea.
Well, can he play it now? Why can't he play it now?
Bishop d7?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually you can still play it. For some reason I saw something which obviously doesn't work. Okay, yeah, bishop d7, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it looks ugly for black, but what does white do? I mean, I guess the problem for black is how you're gonna castle. I think he's gonna play knight e6 and castle queenside is the idea.
Castle queenside. He might just play queen e6 and bishop e7 castle short.
Well,
'Cause
queen
castle
e6, I was worried about bishop to b3.
bishop b3, right? And queen, yeah. Then queen d6, yeah.
Yeah, must win for Grills in the chat. I agree. This is the first must win game, and then he's got to get momentum. So it's must win.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah, definitely. Okay, h6. You don't really want to take the knight on f6 because then that kind of frees black's position. The pieces start to have space to come out. So black's a bit cramped. You want to avoid trades and make it difficult for him to maneuver around.
But now knight e6, knight f4 coming. Knight e6, hold on, knight e6, e5 hanging actually. It's not coming. So yeah, this is a very
can't get
unusual position. Yeah, we don't see positions like this a lot. So black
probably for good reason.
Yeah, exactly. Black has some problems here. You can't play knight e6 and queen e6.
You can't even play like g5 and then bishop g7 because the e5 pawn is hanging.
Yeah, so
What do you
it's
do?
not easy. I expect Bryan to take another 40 seconds and play with 20 seconds.
I agree. Yes, I think he's going to use up all of his time now at this moment, and then blitz out the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Which I mean, we criticize that strategy quite a bit, but I mean, he's got the points. You know, he's showing that it's working for him. So I can't really argue with that.
It works against some people. Some people on purpose just go down on time and then making the opponent get nervous. That sometimes it works. Yeah. Okay, queen exchange. I don't know if he. Well, I would definitely decline queen exchange. Queen e2 seems like natural. Queen e2 rook d1, gaining a tempo.
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels awkward for black. Very awkward.
Or after simple rook d1, queen d2, rook d2, how he's gonna defend e5 pawn. That's another thing.
Yeah, interesting. Rook d1 right away. A lot of people, I think, would just automatically take the queens or something. You know, at least some of my beginner students, they'd be so eager just to say, oh, "Okay, I have a capture, I can do it." And yeah, but I mean, White gave that some thought, so there must be a reason why he's decided to go for this. But I feel like that helped black a lot. The bishop on c7 now guards the e5 pawn, so he's not going to have a problem with that pawn. And castling is an option, but there's bishop takes f6, so you can't castle right away. Bishop takes f6 right now might need to be played by White, actually.
I think bishop g3 will be played, and I don't know how he's going to defend
bishop g3. Oh yeah, how are you
going to... The knight g4, then h3. It seems like losing a pawn, and plus he's down on time.
Yeah, you're right.
Something like b5 and a5 he may try. Yeah, so b5, a5.
You're on fire right now, Arslan.
So.
Yeah, but so like in this position, I would just play knight a4 with the idea of going to my knight to c5 at some point. And if black wants to take on e4, we can still take on e5, I think, because we'll have rook e1 pinning at the end, or something like that. Unless
definitely.
I'm just generalizing a little bit. I didn't fully calculate that whole thing, but it feels like it's risky for black to take on e4 because of some sort of pin on the e file.
Yeah, and he can't castle still because bishop on d7 hanging.
Right. Yeah, so take on e5, and if black takes back knight e5, the bishop on d7 is hanging. Rook e1 is coming next. It's a little dangerous.
Rook e1 has to be played, I think. Rook e1, knight f6, and knight takes f7 seems like a nice tactic. Does it work actually? No, then king f7. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, but then you have rook takes the knight, right? And bishop takes on e6 after that.
Oh no, there's a knight c6 and bishop e6. Hold on, that's also That's also doesn't work. Knight c5, simple.
Knight
I would say
c5. I was gonna say knight c5 before you got me on this knight takes f7 stuff. Yeah, knight takes f7. Does it work though?
Knight f7, I thought king takes, and rook f8, and I mean rook d8, and we're losing, I think.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because we got to move on. The players are moving.
Yeah.
If he took on e6 right away,
Knight
he can take on c6, and then b4 is
Yeah.
hanging.
Yeah. Black's position just falling apart here.
Yeah, the weak pawns are
And
getting
with
gobbled
5
up.
seconds, I don't know if he can survive.
I mean, for black. Oh wait, knight b6 is there something? No,
Knight
it
b6
doesn't
is
quite.
stronger.
Oh, knight b6 is really strong
And-
because you can't play
and
rook
rook
a6 and rook d8 may. Yeah.
Yeah.
He missed it though. He went knight c5.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was
that was his chance to win it right away.
okay, he's still winning 96, pawn e6, and
Yeah,
he needs to play, okay, 96 and rook to e6.
but that
He's-
checkmate would have been nice. Would have been pretty.
Yeah, very, very cool checkmate, yeah. We don't see that a lot. Oh, he's playing on his phone?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's playing on his phone. Jack is playing on his phone.
Did you see him using his phone to play?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh jeez.
I wouldn't imagine playing on my phone because you usually cover the H1 or A1 squares with your fingers. It's not easy.
Yeah, and it's much easier to misclick something.
Yeah, so it's...
And if you get low on time, I mean, it's hard to move fast.
Mhm.
Oh, he's close to flag. He's got 1 second. Oh, he got under a second on that move.
Yeah. Yeah, now it seems like a
Jeez.
draw now. Now it seems like a draw. Knight d5 will try to play. Yeah, knight d5, rook b5. Come on, rook b5. What? He hanged the rook.
Oh, that's a blunder. Nice rook. That's disappointing.
Yeah,
That's
it's very disappointing. The whole game he was winning, dominating, but in chess is a game where he can lose in one move, no matter how you dominate.
Yeah, and I think every chess player can relate to that too.
Yeah, it's not only Jack. And yeah, the fact that he's playing on his phone is, I think, was not.
What is this, Arslan? This is-
Oh,
I
knight
just
takes
sacked
f7.
a piece.
Yeah, I've seen this sack, but of course it shouldn't work. It's a more of an element of surprise if your opponent doesn't know this. Here, of course, castle by hand you need to consider.
Yeah, and by castle by hand you mean play bishop
Bishop-
e7, rook f8,
yeah.
and then king g8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So score update. Bryan has extended his lead again. He got that last game. He didn't really deserve to win it that time, but nevertheless, he
Yeah.
hung in there and he got some good counterplay and got his opponent to make a mistake in the end game. And he extends his lead 6.5 to 1.5.
So now 5 games in 30 minutes. I don't know if you can do it. So here if d5 then e5 wants to play. Okay. Yeah, I guess Bryan got very excited and took the pawn on f7. So after winning 2 games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, White does have some compensation here. He has 2 pawns. He has obviously a space advantage in the center of the board, and these pawns can definitely expand with either at the right moment f5 or e5 or d5. All these moves are possible, and make it a little bit uncomfortable for Black, who's ahead of piece. But those 2 extra pawns are playing an important role here for White.
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be enough.
It shouldn't be enough.
Yeah, it shouldn't be enough. But, yeah,
Put it that way.
yeah.
I mean, if White really wants to go for it, they could play g4 here, and probably try to play g5. That would put the pressure on Black for sure.
Oh, if I see g4, I would immediately take knight takes e4, bishop h4 check, and start attacking back.
You give the piece back,
Yeah,
knight e4.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
risky.
bishop h4 check, because then White cannot castle, and White's king is in the center.
Yeah. Lose record is safe. Yeah, yeah. That's referring to the biggest margin that we had, Arslan. I don't know if you saw any of the previous matches, but our last match, Max Liu beat Vincent Say 12-1.
Oh wow! So
Which was a pretty
he,
incredible score considering. I mean, all these matches have been really close on paper,
uh-huh.
and but to see a match go 12-1, it was similar to what happened here. Is
Yeah.
he won well. Jack managed not to lose the second rapid game, but he hasn't been able to do anything in the blitz yet, and that was the same story in the last match.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's so far it's not going well for Jack, and well, here he's up a piece. I don't know if he can um manage to win this game because I don't see a lot of competition for for the piece. So right now rook d8, if bishop d2 knight a3 check coming, and if bishop d3 then c4. So then has to move the king and king e1. King e1
the
knight.
night before.
Yeah, so this is not looking good for white now.
No, not at all. Bishop h4 is a move here too.
Yeah, bishop h4, yeah. Because Bryan got, I'm pretty sure he got too excited and played knight 6 f7. Sometimes,
Well, no, he
yeah.
knows these tricky lines. I mean, he's looked at these tricky lines before. I'm sure he's not playing anything that he hasn't seen before, and at least
Yeah,
at
I
some
mean,
point.
if he would play more solid opening, I think he wouldn't have these problems.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
right
sure.
now, oh yeah, this is,
Yeah, but you can just take on a1.
yeah, he's assuming that he's gonna catch trap the knight in the corner, but I see the knight getting out easily. I don't see how. Oh, maybe bishop c4 check is thinking, but after pawn to f7, we don't have to take. We can play king f8. So
Right, we could also play bishop to e8 here. Yeah, that's what he did, and play bishop to c6 now. And this
yeah,
this is very
yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, this seems like a clear win for.
Bishop h4.
Yeah, bishop h4 seems like natural.
Or even c4, trying to play bishop c5 somehow. Yeah, okay.
Bishop h4 simple. Because king f1, then rook d1 coming. If king f3 has to be played, then rook f4, rook d4. Yeah, it seems like knight e1 is a good move here also. Seems like finally.
Okay, well, let's not jinx him because we said that for the last game.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I have to be rooting for the underdog now here to
Yeah.
at least pull back some points.
Yeah, we need some intrigue here because it cannot be one-sided. It's not. Oh, 91 now. 91 is a good move here. I don't see how
very nice.
like white defense after
Just
91.
eliminating that, and then the knight will fall. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a very nice move.
That seems like
and then
winning.
the rook on b1 is hanging at the end of that too.
Yeah, you're right.
He
But
didn't see it though.
yeah, I didn't see it,
Why is
unfortunately.
he playing this move? He's just defending.
Defending
pawn.
c5 pawn.
But that was not important here. I mean, he could, if he wanted to defend it, he could just play b6. The bishop was good on h4.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, he definitely doesn't want to give up the momentum here. If he gives up the momentum and white gets his pieces developed, then these pawns all of a sudden have new life. You can't afford that. Okay, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anything. Well, f6 here.
f6. Now what are you gonna play?
Ooh, yeah.
Suddenly he can
too
lose
happy
the game.
with this. Not really too happy with how this is going, and he's
Bishop
got only
f8?
15 seconds.
Bishop f8 has to be played.
You're gonna have to get back some
e7.
material after e7. Yeah.
e7, bishop h6.
Oh, come on, Jack.
Come on, Jack, faster. Bishop f8.
Okay, yeah, we're just simplifying. Yeah, he's just simplifying here, but
That's losing exchange now. Bishop f6, bishop b7, and losing exchange. Yeah, that's what.
oh, bishop takes on b7.
Yeah, this is losing exchange, and I don't know how he's gonna play. This doesn't look good now. Hoping that those two knights can do some. Now one knight can do a fork somewhere, because when there's not much time, it's easy to blunder a fork.
Yeah, but now the knight goes off the board, white should definitely take it.
Yeah, definitely take, and then rook e1 and holding that pawn on e6, because with that extra pawn, it's easy to win.
Okay, or just undermine. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he shouldn't have done that. I think e6 pawn was important here.
Yeah, it's just amazing that we've seen this happen time and time again, where one side just starts winning and they keep winning, win
Yeah.
after win. Even though all the matches have been very, very close in rating, at least. So, those early games are so critical.
Yeah, because I assume that if you're losing, then psychologically you're down, and maybe that's a reason why it happens. Yeah, with that pass pawn, White should easily win the game, unless they blunder something. Well, a7 coming no matter what now, and rook b8 and a7 winning immediately. Yeah.
Yep, very nice.
Oh,
Well, there's another win for Bryan. That one, if the game before that should have been a win for Jack, that one definitely should have been.
yeah.
But Bryan survives a very tough position. He's resourceful, that's for sure. You got to give him some credit for that.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's we're going from the crazy, unusual openings to very standard
Yeah.
Ruy Lopez. So we're all over the place with the openings, as I kind of thought we would be.
d5. He's trying to do Marshall's attack. You usually play d6 early before castling if you don't want to play Marshalls, and if you castle, then you play d5 here to do
Right,
Marshalls.
so you just play d5 in one move instead of two.
Marshall. Yeah.
Yep,
Now,
there we go.
then he goes for it. Let's see. Yeah, bishop d6 or c6 or knight f6, two moves. d4, bishop d6. Rook comes back, queen h4. It's all very well known since Capablanca played Marshall. Well, was that 100 years ago or more than 100 years ago?
I don't even know.
Yeah, so
But it's very old.
Yeah, Capablanca played the best move. Still, the main line is Capablanca's move. He found it over the board. The move c6. The move not c6. The move d4, I think.
Uh-huh.
Okay, here, the main moves are what? f5, f4. The main idea here for black. Queen f1, queen h5.
And White's moving very quickly. He is, as you said, this is all well-known theory, and
Yeah.
White is showing that he knows what he's doing. He has more time than when he started with, and Black is down a minute. Not a surprise, but both players seem like they know what they're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Why is Bryan not showing? He was having some technical difficulties with his video, so until we can get him back, I just popped a picture up there for you guys to look at.
There's a grandmaster behind him telling him what to do. That's why we don't want him to see any game.
Not worried about any sort of cheating at all. These two players both have the greatest integrity. I know them well, and they're also good buddies. So I'm not concerned about anything like that.
Okay, here. I don't know. I'm not sure about rook e8 move. Seemed natural to play queen h5, but still queen h5 is not too late. But a rook on f8 could support f5, f4.
Right, you were talking about that f5, f4 trying to break open White's fortress here.
Yeah.
But now that's not going to be happening here in this position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could still play queen h5, but is there any danger for White? With the queen on f1 is a pretty good defender.
Yeah, just White stays under pressure the whole game. That's the thing.
Keep
about
the queens
Marshall.
on the board, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I would avoid Marshall's attack at any cost, because I don't like when my opponent attacking me. So Oh, trade the queens. Okay, so it takes. Interesting. I didn't expect that he will trade the queens. Because when you're attacking, basics say that we should not trade queens. Now, what he's got for that?
Yeah, I don't know. He thought for a minute and a half and then traded queens. So, and now he's thinking again. I would have thought that he would have had his next move planned already.
Oh my God, he has 15 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jack had called 3 minutes almost.
The time disparity here is huge. It has been for most of the games, and it hasn't made a difference. So,
yeah.
but this is the biggest disparity we've had.
Yeah, now it's Jack's turn to start thinking. Usually, after he's up by a lot of time, then he catches up quickly.
Oh, he's moving. He's keeping pace though. He's not. I would play knight f3 here and maybe try to go knight g5.
Yeah, knight after rook e8 and bishop d2 try to keep the queens off the board, rooks off the board. Yeah, now take and play bishop e3 back. Yeah, knight f3 was a good move. Seems like knight f3 and bishop d2 trade the rooks. Now bishop e3 has to come back and then rook e1.
Yeah, bishop e3 because you don't want the rook to get to e2 and start to just capture everything along the second rank. That would be not good. Yeah.
Okay, he does this. This is interesting. Now, how are you gonna stop the rook e2 move?
Yeah, so you create this permanent weakness in black's pawns, but rook e2 is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do about that?
And there's no bishop d2.
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely. He did something. I definitely know rook b1 because bishop f5. Now what? You have to sacrifice a pawn. Oh, this is not looking good now for white. Bishop e3 was very natural. Now bishop f5 anyway coming.
Yeah, if you have to play rook b1 in a position like this, then you know that you're just way too passive.
Yeah.
I would have even preferred rook e1.
On the other hand, there's a move bishop d1 in between.
Oh, bishop d1 right now.
Interesting
Rook
move,
takes
yeah.
f2 though. Rook takes f2.
Yeah, sacrifice the pawn back.
Oh, okay, I see. King g2 might need to be played. King g2 so that you don't get trapped along the back rank with bishop h3. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Rook e2 is winning, I think, for white. Rook e2 is winning.
That was a mistake.
Yeah,
that's the problem with getting low on time. You make these quick decisions and it can cost you.
Come on, Jack. Rook e2.
But actually, even if rook e2, bishop b3, rook takes, bishop to d5 is a very annoying pin on that knight.
Yeah, at least you up in exchange, but still it's...
And you got a pawn for it. Okay, you found it. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, but it's still not going to be easy for white.
Oh, he just resigned.
Bishop
d5. Bishop d5 was not bad actually. Bishop d5, rook e3 has to be played.
Yeah, there was
then
still fight in that game.
Yeah, and then a2 hanging. So it's not clear with a pawn passed. It could have been even win for black because two bishops are very strong.
Okay, so Jack gets on the board.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for him, I think the match is pretty much decided unless there's some really quick finishes here. I don't see how he could win enough games to make it comeback, a full comeback.
Yeah.
But he'll definitely be looking to narrow the score here. It doesn't look like we'll be able to get Jack's video back, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, we don't want to expose him anyway. I'm just kidding for everyone thinking that I'm serious. Of course, Jack.
Apparently the iPad they were trying his computer doesn't work with Skype, and the iPad they were trying to use, the charger is broken, so variety of issues. They've been trying to fix it, but looks like it's not going to happen. We'll see. So what about this position? It was a King's Gambit.
King's Gambit was, and it seems like White is doing better. Black shouldn't have exchanged queens because whenever f-pawn moves, you want to attack and you want to keep the queens on the board. Now, White is very comfortable here. White is better developed. Black's king is under a lot of checks right now. And this and bishop can be very strong. F4 and bishop g2 can be very strong here. This doesn't look good for black now.
I was a little distracted updating the scores, and I pretty much just looked at the position just now before knight a6, and I was like, oh, this king is just sitting on c6 with no development, and it's kind of bizarre. But
Yeah.
It looks very dangerous, doesn't it?
This is very dangerous, yeah. Knight f6, rook e8 has to be played, seems like.
Yeah, you gotta get your pieces developed
Yeah.
before it's too late.
There's also, after d5 check, king has to go to c5 to defend the pawn on d6. Now, most likely rook d8 has to be played. Rook d8, then a7 hangs. Yeah, it's a very tough position for black. Very tough. And plus he's down on time now. Okay, he played d5.
Yeah, you have to try to mix it up. I like
Yeah,
that decision.
Yeah, that's a good decision, yeah.
But white reacted very calmly with b3.
Yeah, b3 seems like the only move. I didn't see
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah. It's easy to play when there's only the only moves you have is everything is forced.
Yeah, and for
Especially-
black, it's not obvious at all what to do.
Yeah. Nothing obvious, yeah. Well, knight c7 seems natural. Trying to get rid of that knight.
Yeah, knight c7. That knight on b5 is certainly very powerful. Ah, jeez. Okay, yeah, knight. But actually, it was better to play it on the previous move.
Yeah. While having that pawn standard at least.
Yeah, because now white might be able to play something like d5 and. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna see.
D5 and
you have to
rook
play
b-
king b6.
And rook b1, yeah.
No,
Oh,
he didn't
he
play d5. I'm pretty surprised he didn't do that. Not shocked, but
Oh.
pretty surprised.
Black has so much relief now. It's
Yeah.
so much better now for black.
Yeah, the king is finally safe, and actually it's well positioned for the endgame, isn't it?
Yep. So king d6 and b6 in a very safe position.
I mean, the good thing for white though is that he's got the bishop for the endgame, and also, well, it's also well placed, but he also has a pass pawn, the d pawn. So I still prefer white.
Yeah. Now knight h5, knight f4 should be considered here.
Yeah, the knight d6. Oh, very good. He played it instantly. Yeah.
Knight f4, g5, trying to get that outpost. g5, on the other hand, king penetrates to f5. That can be annoying, so he decided to retreat. Now f4, right? f4, bishop g2, it seems like very powerful for white.
Yeah, and the bishop's going to come to g2 or e3 or.
Oh,
Well, now g2.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't look good now. Bishop b7, knight d4, c6, knight d6. Actually holding, so it's not bad. But knight d4, c6, and knight to e6, right? Or knight to b5 better. Knight b5
yeah.
because knight d6 and bishop to c8, losing pawn on f5.
No, but knight b5, bishop a6.
Oh yeah, even worse, right? So yeah,
You have to go knight e6.
knight e6, losing a pawn then. Just
Yeah, but maybe you pick up the a3 pawn. I don't know if you can risk that or not, but like knight, or maybe you can play knight d7. No, do you have time? No, you don't have time for that. Knight d4.
knight d4, c7, and that seems like
Oh, you can't play knight b5. Yeah, because of bishop a6 again.
yeah.
So there's no fancy trick. You just have to.
Yeah,
well, that's a fancy trick.
Yeah,
a little bit
here
fancy.
I saw something like I felt like I saw it, or I didn't. Oh yeah, it's a win. Just take the knight and king d4 seems like a win, because king goes to e5, f6, and the g7, picking up the pawns. Bishop e6, king e6, king d4, king d6, c7, king takes, king e5, g6, king f6.
Yeah, but I don't have to
b-
play g6, do I?
Then king
Can I
has to
just
go.
let you take the f pawn and then?
King d7, king e7, right? Oh yeah, he can hold the opposition here.
And white's thinking. this is kind of a critical moment. Like, do you take the knight or not? You could play c7, and then so the alternative between taking the knight, you could play c7, and then the knight will have to take, and then take on f5 and keep the bishop versus the knight. So you either go into a king and pawn endgame, or you keep the pieces on the board. So he's going for the king and pawn ending. All right, and we're going to see this variation. h4. Okay, that's an interesting move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black doesn't have much choice. He's going for it. It's going to turn into a race.
Yeah.
And I don't quite know who's faster. Because black might be, if the king is sitting on g7, black might promote with check. But I think white's faster.
At the same time promotion, yeah.
Same time
White's
promotion.
gonna be, yeah.
But white's going to be in good shape there, yeah.
Yeah,
Because you
pick
got
up the pawn.
the extra pawn, you can probably hide from checks, and yeah. So.
Well, this is draw. Side pawn never wins, but white. Oh, hold on, they check. But still, yeah, this is gonna be draw most likely because that side pawn doesn't win. And
But doesn't it matter where the king is placed? Can't I try to arrange a situation where well, maybe not.
oh, it's a draw. Yeah, typically draw. You just black needs to get the queen closer a little bit.
Yeah, so queen c1 here.
Yeah, the bad thing is black needs to fight for the draw, and it can be another 100 moves. So the match end.
Yeah, and white has no reason not to play it out because after all, he does have the pawn. I mean, if anybody's winning, it's him.
No.
Well, a draw was offered, but declined. Oh, yeah, they agreed to a draw. That's that's good sportsmanship right there. You like to see
exactly.
that. Yeah. Bryan could have easily have just drawn that out for moves and moves and moves. So we had a draw. It doesn't really help Jack, unfortunately.
Okay, this is obviously Steinitz. d4. Pawn takes. If knight takes, then b5 losing on the spot. So pawn takes and has to play bishop c6. Yeah, now bishop b3, pawn takes, cannot take on d4 twice because c5, c4.
Who would you
Pawn
want?
takes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it has to play c3 then. Well, take and c3. Cannot take it.
C3, very nice, yeah. Yeah, you definitely can't play queen d4 because of the good old trap c5, c4. And what's the move after, remind me, queen d4, c5, queen d5, attacking the rook?
Bishop, I think that was actual draw. Bishop e6, bishop d7.
Yeah. After
Yeah,
queen
that's
c6, you go back to
yeah,
d7, and then white goes back, threatening mate again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so white would have a draw, but once again, that doesn't help Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So the rook's under attack, and there's also a mate threat. Black has to play bishop to e6, and now he has to play bishop to d7. So this is going to be another draw. Threatening mate, and oh wait a minute.
Oh,
it's not a draw.
Yeah.
It's not a draw at all. That bishop's trapped.
Yeah. Well, he's now losing. He's white, right? So yeah, you're right. So.
Well, white took the risk. I mean, this is a
queen
trap, but
yeah, that's very old trap. Yeah, that's the first thing I learned in the rule opus. So queen a6, I think, should have been played, and after rook c2, knight c3 tried to trap the rook, but he played queen b3. Queen a6 would giving black, white very good chances.
Yeah,
rook c8.
You have the pass pawns right now. You have connected pass pawns, and right now you have 0 pass pawns.
Yes. Queen b3 was he played it very fast, and I think that was a mistake here.
Too passive, yeah.
Now black has just extra bishop on e6, which is very strong also. Not only extra bishop, but also very powerful. I would have placed it on c6 and played d5, opening that diagonal. Yeah, he needs to get that pawn on a6. Otherwise, there's no counterplay for white.
I'm curious, Arslan, because somebody asked at the beginning of the match, they wanted to see you and Leaf.
Yeah.
But you said that that wouldn't be a fair match for you, I think is what you were saying.
Yeah.
Who would you like to play if you were to? Who would be your ideal opponent, your nemesis, if you had to play somebody?
I never thought about that because I never even played any matches like that. I never had any ideas who I want to play. But Leif Pressman is a very active player. Unlike me, I play once a year, so I don't think it's gonna be fair. Someone who stopped playing chess.
No, you play at least twice a year. You've been doing the Top Dog, and you did the team tournament in Persephone.
Yeah, that's it, right? February, I have 2 tournaments. That's all I do. I would play Mr. Patrick.
He's very
I'm
active.
kidding.
He's very active player though.
I thought he doesn't play.
No, he plays in our quads all the time.
Oh yeah, so no, not him then.
I think he's watching. Mr. Patrick, you've been called out by Arslan for a match.
Oh, he's watching.
I'm sure he is.
Can you cut that moment because I don't want him to hear that. or is it live, right? You can't cut it.
No, we're live.
Okay. There's a4 break. I don't know why black is not playing a4. Like, it seems
Yeah,
like
a4 activates the bishop and destroys white's pawns. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, I would call it technical position. We can just quietly sit and watch how black is gonna win this game.
Yeah, so he did play a4, so white's position is going to crumble pretty quickly here. I mean, you have to take, and then your double pawns are going nowhere. I mean, you might just resign in this position. Yeah, okay, so he resigned. And it's another win for Bryan, and we'll have probably, this is the last game. There's 3 minutes left in the match. Unless this one finishes very quickly, then we'll see.
Okay, Sicilian again. We're gonna see Dragon. Seems like yes, another Dragon.
And same. Wait a minute. This is different because before we saw Queen B6, right? And so Black's been changing this up every time. We saw it in the first rapid game.
He actually played. He's playing like a first time, but he played castle, and remember there was that idea of bishop g4. Now he played knight c5.
Right.
To play knight and bishop g4. So now black is looking better now. I like this position for black better than previous ones.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mr. Patrick says, "I see and hear all." Arslan.
Oh, really?
He's always listening, no matter where you are. He's listening. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd expect that. Okay. G4 immediately, trying to just run through him with G5 F6. Seems like G5 knight D5 F6. Yeah, it's not knight D. Oh, he castled long.
Castle long.
In Sicilian defense, yeah, castling long is always dangerous. So I wouldn't.
Maybe he was tired of getting attacked on the king side, though. He's trying.
Yeah, maybe
trying desperately to mix it up.
Yeah, probably that's a reason. Now, king b1. I don't know, king b1 and the knight d5 seems like very natural here. Yeah, I wouldn't even think here. I would play king b1 instantly and knight d5, like 2 natural moves. Bishop c4, provoking rook f8.
What about knight b3? Is there anything knight b3? I guess you don't want to open up the bishop. Yeah. Well, knight d5. Okay, here we go. Your move.
Yeah. Knight d5, yeah. Knight d5 played. Finally, rook f to e8 and f6. Again, the bishop is going to be dead in the corner after bishop h8.
Yeah, f6 is just a huge threat.
Yeah.
So is b4. No, you have queen a3. Okay.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought that black might be losing a piece here, but no. Queen to a3 saves the day.
Yeah, yeah. Knight e7 and f6, and yeah, the knight on e7 kind of stuck, but so is the bishop on h8.
Yeah, well, it's better to be stuck in the middle of your opponent's position with a knight than to
Yeah.
be stuck in your own position in the corner, right?
Yeah.
There's very,
Definitely.
very different kinds of being stuck. One is very good, and the other not so good. No, f6 is going to be painful
Yeah.
because you're never getting out of that. And you can't play rook c8 ever with the knight on e7. So it's going to be hard. And it's just going to be so hard for black to attack. You have your queen and knight over there, but that's not nearly enough. You need the rook on c8. You need your bishop from h8 attacking.
Oh yeah, black is not talking about attacking. They're probably talking about surviving here
Yeah.
because all the pieces in Zugzwang position now.
Yeah, d6 pawn is weak.
Yeah, knight b3 right now seems like. Knight b3 can be.
Knight b3 just to trade off the rest of black's active pieces.
Yeah, knight b3. If queen a2 though, bishop c5. I was thinking pawn c5, and there should be something, and then e5 even just adding even more control over the bishop on h8, just completely stopping. Yeah, knight b3, queen a2, bishop c5, pawn c5, and e5. Seems like enough to win the game. You can even, I don't know if you can. Oh yeah, I think you can even add moves like rook takes d7 to that position. Anything is.
Yeah, so we are past 5 o'clock, which is the end time for the match, so they won't be starting any more games. I have let the players know. And so this is it. Yeah, we have a winner. Well, we've had a winner for a while now. Bryan Weisz is our main event 6 champion. And but we're going to see the final action from this game and see if Jack can maybe survive this, perhaps even win. We'll see. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We've seen swings much worse than this. So
Yeah. But yeah, knight on h5, bishop on h8, completely off the games.
well, the knight on the rook on f8 as well, and the rook on d8 are really.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not the rook on d8. I suppose if the bishop on d7 moves, that rook is, will be guarding d6. But yeah, it's black has a big challenge here figuring out how to get your pieces in the game. You can't even play like h6 because h4 happens and it's just completely locked down.
Doesn't change anything.
I mean, you can try it, but yeah, you're right. It doesn't change anything at all.
If White was Nimzovich, he would probably find a way to do a Zugzwang and win the game in a beautiful fashion here.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we don't have Nimzovich, but the win should be easy anyway.
If I'm white here, I kind of just want to go bishop g1 and bishop h2 and line it up on the king and the queen and the pawn.
Yeah, that seems like a good plan here. There's a lot of ways to get to Moscow, we say, and the same thing here. A lot of ways to win this game now. Rook d3, rook c3, rook d3, rook d1, bishop g1, bishop h2. Everything is winning. Well, rook d2, I would play rook d3. Makes more sense, right?
Rook d3, so you have at least rook c3 options or some other rook left, yeah.
Rook d3 was a little passive, but...
I like that knight on e7. Okay.
Yeah. That's true.
All right, we'll trade it. It's fine. I mean, the real issue is the knight and the bishop for black are just totally out of the game.
They never be in the game now.
Yeah. I really want to see bishop g1. I just want to see it. Because if black ever tries to play e5, well, first of all, you might be able to just take it, but also bishop to d5, and the bishops are so powerful.
Yeah, rook d6 and bishop e5 also possible.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, even instead of just taking on e6, on e5, just rook takes first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, White is not doing my plan. Come on, Brian. Oh well, that's okay.
Okay, Queen h2. At least Queen h2. If you don't want to play Bishop h2, Queen. Yes.
Okay.
So he did it. Queen h2.
Yeah, and where's the breakthrough?
d5 is going to be played right now. Okay, now h6 is hanging. h6 is a free pawn.
Oh,
Okay, this is also winning. Yeah, this is also
Oh
an
yeah,
idea.
because there's going to be e6 check. Yeah.
Oh no, there's not
Oh,
going
no.
to be e6.
What is
He
it?
miscalculated here.
Did he
h6 he should
miscalculate
check.
this? Oh, he almost flagged. He had 0.4 seconds. And,
And,
black won.
and he wins the game. Surprisingly.
Wow.
Pawn takes
I told
h6
you.
winning.
I told you. Anything can happen. People have to watch
Yeah,
until the
that was-
very end.
Probably the worst game for Black, for Jack, and he won this game.
All right,
So
Jack.
maybe that should have been strategy. Losing on purpose to win.
Well done. Let me just see if we can get Brian on the Skype.
Sounds good.
And we'll just get your thoughts on the match. I'll just update the score here. So you managed to pull it back a little bit at the end there. Final scores next to the players. Bryan Weisz is our champion for our sixth main event match. A score of 9-4. Yeah, while we're getting Brian back on the call, Jack, do you have any thoughts overall of how things went?
I think Bryan just outplayed me. I thought his opening prep, that's what, I know Bryan's always great with his opening prep, and I think it got to me. Yeah, he outplayed me.
Yeah, yeah, Brian, are you there, Brian?
How do we start it?
Oh, no.
Hey, Brian? Okay, I don't know if we actually have Brian yet.
Okay.
Oop.
Are you there?
Yeah, Jack, were you playing on your phone? It looked like you were playing on your phone there.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi went down about 15 minutes into the match, so I had to switch to my phone on its cell service.
That must have been difficult. Do you feel like that cost you any points, or?
Not necessarily. I think it was just annoying in the moment, but I don't know. I don't think it did.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it was a stealthy switch because we didn't notice it until much later, I think.
Yeah.
Brian, are you there? No. We can't hear you, Brian. So you got to turn your microphone on, I think. Oh, hold on 1 second. Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, Brian. Brian, congratulations on your win and your
you.
thoughts on the match.
Well, I think that after the first two games, it was kind of well. First of all, there's some technical difficulties that made it a little bit more difficult, but also like it felt very different, like switching from those longer games to the short games, and because I was taking a long time, and the beginning of the Blitz games, like I was thinking for a very long time, even though it was a Blitz game.
Yeah. We were wondering if you'd be able to make the switch to the Blitz because you were using a lot of time in the Rapid. We were nervous for you there getting so low on time, but you managed to, well, it worked out. In the second Rapid game, were you, when you played Knight takes h3 to go for the draw, were you debating whether to do that or not? We were wondering if you were going to try to play on and try to win, or
I was trying to decide if I wanted to try to win the game, but I thought that I might as well just go for a draw because I already got the 3 points in the beginning, and I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah. Jack, did you consider not taking the knight on h3?
Not really, no. I figured if I didn't take it, it would just become a nightmare. And I thought that I'll take the draw, and if you decide to keep playing, I figured I'd have a better chance given the pieces on the board.
Well,
still.
yeah, I was not going to try to win that game because if I'm down the piece for 3 pawns, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, congratulations, you guys. That was an exciting match. all the games were interesting. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to everybody for watching. We appreciate you tuning in. And thanks, Arslan, for your commentary. It was excellent. That was a lot of fun. And that's it for today. We will see you soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.